down. You caught the hardcore crew chewing the fat. You caught us shooting the shit. You caught us in the moment.
You know, in a ring of glass and breaking force at the light bulb. So I'm like, that's not wrestling. What happened to it?
Yeah, I know, and I've known Necro Butcher for quite a long time, and I was working in for XCW there in Dallas, and they actually asked me one night if I wanted to have a match with him. I said, not on your life. First of all, he can't go toe to toe with me, and then secondly, I'm not going to lower my standards so that I can go toe to toe with him. I was like, it would be the worst mixed match ever in wrestling history. You know, it'd be like putting Adrian Adonis in there with Chris Benoit. You know,
Absolutely.
Like,
you know,
while
you're doing a suplex and a slam, he's hitting you with a chair and a table and glass.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's why with us, you know, we go by a theme of I sat back with my crew. And I said, you know, what is missing from wrestling? We got to make ourselves different, because there's a lot of promotions that go extreme. There's a lot of promotions that are, you know, doing these crazy stuff. And then there's promotions that just putting matches for the sake of matches. And I said, you know, I don't want to be like that. I want to be something different. You know, we came up with the thing. We actually did this. This is crazy, but we went to the area we are doing our shows. We talked to the fans, and we actually asked the fans, what kind of wrestling would you like to see? You know, of course, with the newer guys, they were like WWE, you know, John Cena and this. With the older fans, they wanted to see a return of the classic stuff from the 80s. And here,
do you know what I would like to see? And you never see it, in my opinion, you don't see enough of it, and I don't know if it's difficult to actually pull off.
Nude mud wrestling?
No. Can you remember when they used to have the hardcore matches, and you'd got people like Hardcore Holly, and they'd go out into the Missouri River and throw each other in, and I just like matches that spill out into the arena and don't always end up in the ring, probably. I know fighting in fans can cause a bit of an issue with an health and safety problem, so I don't really mean that sort of thing. But as a wrestling fan, when you think things have actually got out of control and gone wrong, where it's still fully in control, but it looks like it's out of control, it's that fine line: is this real, is this not? That's the bit that makes me watch. When I remember one of the matches where Austin got basically jumped in the gents' toilets when they were fighting in the corridor. I think it was with Vince McMahon. Stuff like that, that's, you don't see it coming, and when it does come, you think, was that real? Was that fake? What happened then?
The problem with that is it's good for sporadic moments. What happened was TNA was doing it every single time they were on TV.
Yeah, and then it gets boring. When you see it on a regular basis, it's like sex. Having it too often, it gets boring.
Yeah, Tommy Dreamer was infamous for that in his matches. You know, I mean, it even became a main staple for his matches there in ECW. And getting back to what Joseph was saying though about asking the fans. I worked for a promotion in Mississippi in Beulah Battery, ran by a guy by the name of Bud Collins. And what he did something completely different I'd never seen anybody do before. He would give out like these little kind of like Q&A questionnaires to the fans as they came in the door. And on it, he would have a list. Yeah, it was like a survey. And he would have a list of all his guys, and then, it would say stuff like, who's your favorite, or who's the most hated, and what type of match would you like to see, and just about 4 or 5 different questions on there. And he got a lot of audience participation because of it, because in a way he was giving the fans what they wanted, but then again, it would just be in like small doses of actually giving them what they wanted. And, and it made them feel like, okay, we're kind of deciding what's happening here, with this guy facing this guy. And he got a lot of crowd reaction from it. And he ended up growing a pretty good fan base because of it.
Right, that's another thing that's missing. It's fan interaction. You know, it's with the WWE. You're not going to see that live like in the arenas, because obviously, you know, it can't happen because of too many issues that can happen. You know, TNA used to do that, but then they stopped. It was one of those things that was here today, gone tomorrow. The only time you see interaction like that is when, you know, basically indie promotions do it. And like for us, you know, we went and did that little survey with the fans, and it was kind of very personal, and they kind of enjoyed that. That here's these guys in suits and in costumes and coming up and asking them questions, and it worked for us because then we could sit down and write everything, and you know, judge it from there, and you know what they want, and you know, like I said, for our territory in Patterson, New Jersey, the fans are mix of new and old fans. You know, it was funny during the conversation. We had, you know, you folks know, if we say pro wrestling, what do you say? And they say WWE. Not one person, when we asked them, do you know TNA? They said, what? What's that? Again, you know, we were dealing with that type of fans. We said, okay, we know we can't go this route. We have to go this route. And the older fans were like, yeah, I remember when WWF was here, when it was Roddy Piper, Hulk Hogan. And fans were, you know, we have to sit down and rummage through all this stuff and see what works and what doesn't work. And
that,
again,
yeah, that's the only way you're going to be successful too. You know,
absolutely. You know, and I wish, you know, other promotions would do that. That because what we're missing today, unfortunately, and I don't know, like I said, I don't know in where you're at or the promotions you work for, but I believe, you know, what wrestling is missing today, it's the territories.
yeah,
And
I agree.
stuff.
I agree 100%. I was very territory, pro territory, you know, back in the day, and I still am today. You know, because a higher standard was held on the independent scene when you had territories. You know,
Absolutely.
you didn't see the junk that you see now, and you see the untrained guys. And I see it a lot here in the South, you know, because I wrestle a lot in Texas, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, Louisiana, you know, Oklahoma, and Arkansas, those type of areas, in Tennessee, and you see nothing but a plethora of guys that have no business even being in the ring, or you guys that even, you know, say that they're in the business. I'm like, you know what, wrestling once a month for your cousin doesn't make you in the business. You're not in the business.
Or what you see that replaced you know, the territories was backyard wrestling. And, you know, again, you know, what I'm striving to do, and I'm not one that has tons of money, but I will say this, you know, what we're basically missing is for promotions to try to take their, you know, promoters, excuse me, to take their promotion to the next level. You know,
Yeah.
like, why are you content with being just a minor league promotion? You know,
Yeah.
try to strive to be better. And for me, that's one of the things we do. It's I gotta make my guys into something, and gotta make my promotion into something, so we can keep going up, up, up.
Yeah, exactly. If you know, because the guys that don't strive to be better, that don't, you know, content, those are what I like to call weekend warriors. Those guys are only in it to stroke their own ego and to give themselves a coffee table conversation. You know, something that they can put on their Facebook page and show off to their friends and family and say, "Hey, look what I do," and you know, and that's good enough for them. I'm like, that's not what this is about. You know, I'm ashamed to even call you a wrestler because you're tarnishing my name as well.
Absolutely. And, you know, I remember back then, you know, you used to go to Portland, Oregon, you used to go to Memphis, you used to go to Texas, you can go to one of the bigger, and I wouldn't call them bigger promotions, But you can go to the Don Owens promotions. You can go to Fritz Von Erichs. You can go to, the Eddie Graham or Mike Graham's Florida promotion. They weren't major promotions, but they were promotions still known enough that, you harbored your trade there and you went someplace else and you were just as known.
Yeah. And I grew up in the Florida Championship Wrestling territory. There with Eddie Graham and Mike Graham. Every Saturday night, we're at the Eddie Graham Sports Arena there in Tampa, watching wrestling. And that's how I came up in the business.
Oh yeah, for me, it was like I grew up watching I was in New York City, so we got to see the NWA, WCCW. We got to see the AWA, WWF, and we actually at one time had the UWF network. It was called the Wrestling Network, where on this one channel, on every day, you saw a different promotion, from around the United States. And, one time, I saw the UWF. Then the next day was the WCCW. Then it was, the big promotions the beginning of the week. And then coming to the winding down to the end of the week, you saw Mario Sabotti's IWCCW. You got to see, oh wow, what was the other ones? The Portland, Florida, and you got to see such a mix. And that's what, like I said, it was so known. Today, you don't see that. You just don't.
No.
It's like you see a bunch of crappy guys who are hardly ever trained, don't know how to don't know how to shoot a promo. You know? And
or even have gear.
Or even have gear.
Yeah.
Everybody seems to have kick pads or MMA gloves.
Yep. And, I was just having this conversation with someone the other day, as a matter of fact. They're like, what's wrong with my look? And I'm like, okay, well, everybody knows me as being a straight shooter. And I say, I don't tell you what you want to hear. I tell you what you need to hear. And, well, what's wrong with my look? And I was like, okay, well, look at it this way. We're in a business to get noticed. That's the whole point of what we do. Now, what about your outfit says, hey, look at me, notice me? I was like, you're wearing almost all black. You have nothing else going on there. And what is it about you that says, notice me? I'm not talking about just your color, but it's the whole ensemble. It's the way you put it together, the way you look, the way you carry yourself, and everything else. It's like you look like nobody.
Else.
You look like back in the day, you look like the Brooklyn Brawler. Like way back in the day. Remember, everybody remembers. Oh, the Brooklyn Brawler, he's going to lose. As soon as you see him walk through the curtain. That's the impression I get from just looking at you. When I see you walking out, oh, this guy's going to lose. There's no hype. There's nothing exciting whatsoever about you.
Exactly. A lot of these, new workers, you sometimes got to help them with gimmick because they won't know what to do. And I say, look what made Ric Flair stand out. Look what made Randy Savage stand out. Look what made Hulk Hogan stand out. Look what made Roddy Piper stand out.
Just completely out there. Every guy that you just mentioned, Randy Savage, Roddy Piper, Ric Flair, they were out there in the stratosphere. I mean, they just weren't circling the earth. I mean, they were really out there. Personality-wise, gimmick-wise, and promo-wise.
Oh yeah, and they followed it up with good mat skills, and it's you got a complete package, and that's the thing. Like I sat down with one kid, and he's telling me this elaborate gimmick, and he's typing everything out to me, and he looks like he's, like 80 pounds soaking wet. Jimmy Hart could probably beat him up, and his gimmick is outrageous. He's typing me this stuff, and the words he's putting on the screen are barely understandable. And I says, well, what's your story? What is your character? What are you trying to project? And he's telling me he's a king from the Jersey Shore and all this other stuff, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense, you know. And it was one ridiculous thing after another. And when you then I broke it down to him and told him the honest truth, he got offended. Oh, you know what? Screw you, because you don't know what you. I said, dude, I know what I'm talking about. You know?
You bruised his ego.
Yeah, and it's like, would you rather me lie and stroke your ego, or would you rather be told the truth and how you look ridiculous, you don't know what your character is, and you're not going to get anywhere unless you change. And I'm giving you tips. You know, I'm not downgrading you. I'm just trying to help you.
You know, and I feel very fortunate because I was taught that stuff early on in my career, and you know, and it helped me hone my character a lot faster than a lot of other guys that were coming in like at the same time. And you know, and I got a lot of jealousy towards me, aimed at me, because I was getting more over than they were, and I was getting spots that they were like, hey, you know. I'm like, well, you know, I figured out who I am and where I want to go with this character and what to do with it. And then ability-wise, what I need to do with it, you know, to make it believable. And I feel very fortunate that I was taught that, you know, early on in my career.
Do you guys in the States get like we do? I get sick of watching like indie promotions in the UK now, and everyone's dressed as John Cena or Stone Cold Steve Austin with a shaved head, and I think, where's your gimmick? Who are you?
Actually, I've seen a lot of people copy that gimmick over here, and they think it's cool. And it's, to me, I think it's ridiculous. You know, why?
You know, and I still to this day have never seen anybody do my type of gimmick or character. I still have never seen anybody do it. It is. I feel it's a very unique character.
Well, and that's what wrestling should be: unique characters, larger-than-life characters that fans can see. Like, I give you a good example. I don't want to mention the guy's name, but everybody knows Jay Lethal.
Yeah.
And you know, I wanted to bring him into our territory, and I says, you know, no, in fact, let me backtrack. That one of the tag teams that I have is good friends with Jay Lethal, and they told me that, hey, Jay, you know, we could get Jay Lethal. I'm like, oh, great, yeah, bring him in. So Jay contacts me, we talk, and and I says, you know, Jay, come in as Black Machismo. You know, I love the Macho Man gimmick. Bring it in. He says, no, I don't want to do that gimmick. I want to be Jay Lethal. And I said, Jay, I said, that's not going to work here. Like, the fans here, they don't know Ring of Honor. They're not going to know TNA. I'm like, when you walk through that curtain, you have a reputation of Jay Lethal, but to the fans, they're going to look at you as like another indie wrestler. You're not going to get a pop. I'm like, if you come out with the glitz and glamour, Black Machismo and all that, they're going to look at you as, oh man, he's spoofing Randy Savage. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, it's not a knock, but as a promoter, I got to look to make money by having you here. It's like bringing Shane Helms as Shane Helms and not the Hurricane.
Yeah.
You know, it's
What's
not
the
going to
point?
work. You know, and he got upset with it, and, you know, he says, no, I'm not interested, and all that. A couple of days later, about a month later, we negotiated to bring Nunzio in. And Nunzio, you know, Jason talked to Nunzio and a couple other people. And next thing you know, Jay Lethal contacts me, and he says, hey, you think you can use me? And I said, Jay, I told you I can use you, but as Black Machismo. Now he says, yes, he will do the Black Machismo.
Mm-hmm.
And it just goes to show you, it's like, you know, sometimes, you know, as a promoter, it's very tough to deal with certain people, but you got to make them see reason.
Well, yeah.
You know,
It's like me. I do multiple characters, and I have, you know, my Nick Bondage character, which is kind of more regal, kind of like Steven Regal, kind of attitude, but with a Roddy Piper fit throwing, and with Chris Benoit's wrestling ability. It's all meshed in together, and under a hood as well. And then I do a redneck, camouflage wearing hat, dip in my mouth, other character called Dirtbag Daryl. And like when I go to Alabama, they don't want Nick. They don't want the mat technician. They want the guy that's going to go out there and just rub your face in the mat and and be dirty. So I got to give them what they want. Because that's what they want. And even though I'd much rather do Nick, but they say, hey, we want Daryl, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll give you Daryl then.
Yeah, and if they're paying they paying you for that character, you gotta. If the promoter wants that character, you want to get paid, you got to portray that character. And that's the thing with us.
And then there's been other promotions where I've done a tag with Lord Humongous. I was Lord Minimungus, and I went out there as his little midget version of himself, and we did tags together. And I've been in promotions where they're like, we want Minimungus. I'm like, okay, that's what you want. That's what you get.
Exactly.
Because they're expecting somebody that's going to be 7 foot tall, and then they see me come out, and they're like, what the hell is this? This guy's only 5'8",
It's like you playing the Goldberg music and Gilbert comes out.
Yeah.
But,
exactly. So, you just got to go with your bread and butter.
Exactly. And you got to understand your fans. And like for us, I know I can never bring up AJ Styles or Samoa Joe because 99% of the fans will not recognize him. If I put AJ Styles on one side of the room, while he's a phenomenal talent, and I put John Cena on another side, there's going to be tons of lines toward John Cena, and there's going to be like this, bunch of crickets on the other side because they're not going to recognize him. So when it comes to you got to do what is best to attract your fan base. And like I told Jay Lethal, I said, Jay, I need you as Black Machismo because the fans are going to recognize it, and they're going to see the flashy costumes. They're going to see the gimmick, the wrestling style. They're going to instantly, Macho Man's going to come to mind.
Yeah, they're going to recognize it and they're going to identify with it.
Exactly. But they're not going to recognize, regular Jay Lethal. They're just going to think of you as another black independent wrestler. And they're going to shrug.
Yeah.
Well,
fellas, go ahead, Andy, real quick, but I got to get off here, actually, because I have a long day of work ahead of me tomorrow.
Yeah.
But
here's an example. Here's a quick example for you. I can't even remember his name now, but on one of the TNA promotions that they did on ECW when they had the revival, Just Incredible came out with his real name, or they announced him as his real name because Vince had got the Just Incredible. And the crowd were like, who? And when he came out and people realised who he was, they were shouting Just Incredible. So it just goes to prove that if you get over with a gimmick, you're not going to get over as nothing else. I mean, they hadn't got a clue. When they called his real name, everyone was like, who the hell's this?
And that was the same thing with when they had the ECW what was it? When TNA, they did the Hardcore Justice, the first one, they had the ECW guys. They could not call Balls Mahoney. They just had to call him something else. I think they just called him Mahoney or something like that.
No.
I'm glad you actually said that, Andy, because I'm down here in the Gulf Coast area, and I live real close to like Hardcore Holly, and it's such a travesty. It's so sad that Vince can own your character like that, and good and well he's not making no money off of it because he didn't have Just Incredible in any kind of documentaries, or they don't have his own tribute video DVD out or anything like that. So what's the whole point of keeping that name and that character? Really, let this man go out there as who he has built his career around and be that person. It's such travesty, and it's so sad to see stuff like that happen.
Well,
Yeah, he can't even call himself Aldo Montoya because they own that
Yeah.
too.
exactly, but that's the point. So, I mean, you would figure as a wrestler, wouldn't you want to say, go out and say, when you sign with the WWE, you're going to say, no, you know what, no matter what happens, whether I get with you or I don't get with you, guess what? This is going to be my name.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it comes down to, and probably Nick can say that if the WWE come to you with a contract, and there's not many wrestlers out there who would hand on heart say they would turn their nose up at the WWE. They're probably not even thinking straight, and Vince is getting them while they're down or while they're excited and said, oh, and by the way, sign this contract, we've got your name, and they're like, yeah, okay, no worries. And then when they've been used and abused like a dirty prostitute, and they're thrown on the scrap heap, they think, oh shit, I can't even use the name now that I've built up myself.
Yeah. And when I got my shot up there with Vince, there's 3 different occasions, I was really worried about even mentioning my character to him whatsoever because, of course, when they came up, they're like, we want to see you just a clean slate. You have no character, you have no gimmick or anything else. We will give you yours. I didn't even want to mention the fact of my character because I didn't want it to get stolen or said, oh, we own that now and you can't ever use it again because I had built my career around that character and that name. And it would have been like having to start over.
Yeah, it's like Coca-Cola. Suddenly somebody buys the name Coca-Cola and they have to call themselves Black Drink or something. It's just, everything's gone and they start again and you just can't pick up where you left off.
Mm-hmm.
Some wrestlers are smart enough to sign, that they own the trademark to their own names. Honky Tonk Man, Hulk Hogan, Roddy Piper. They were smart enough to keep their names and gimmicks.
Those are all old school guys too.
Yeah.
These new guys, that ain't gonna happen. That just ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, they just go in and think, oh, I've got a contract. It's something I've always wanted to do. I'm going to be here forever now and keep my name.
Yeah, you're not going to see, I don't know who, you might see CM Punk if he ever leaves. He might still stay CM Punk. He might have that kind of creative writing over his own gimmick and character. He made a stipulation. But guys like Jack Swagger, if he ever leaves, he's not going to be Jack Swagger anywhere else.
Well, I don't know if you guys have noticed. I noticed something the other week on the WWE website, and I'm thinking, I'm sure I've not seen this before, but it just seems to have appeared overnight. I was looking at something, and I went onto the merchandising page, and it was John Cena, and it said, like, get the official John Cena sweatbands, and this, that, and the other. And they'd got the copyright symbol at the side. They got John Cena, and then the copyright. And I thought, have the WWE copyrighted John Cena? Has John Cena copyrighted John Cena? Now, we all know that's his real name. Doesn't stop the WWE copyrighting it under his nose. But I've noticed it's now, they've suddenly started to put, unless it's on like the WWE shop, it's on everybody else. You can see, like, for example, Randy Savage t-shirts, and it just says Randy Savage. But when you look at the John Cena merchandise, it's John Cena and then the little C, which is copyright. And I'm thinking, not noticed that before.
Yeah.
Oh, he could have had copyrighted himself.
Yeah. I just hope he has, because
to protect that merchandise, probably.
Man, I think he's made enough money. If he got out of wrestling and never did it again, he wouldn't need to worry about it. But I would hate to think that he'd have to start all over again if he got fired for whatever stupid reason.
Yeah. But those kind of guys that reach that top tier status like that, I really don't have anything to worry about, But you take your lower card guys like for example, the guy MVP, who in my opinion was a great talent. I mean, I enjoyed watching his matches. I loved that guy MVP. I thought he was pretty good. He's not going to, if he ever gets into wrestling anywhere else, I'm not sure if he's still wrestling, to be honest with you. But if he goes anywhere else, he is not going to be able to use that name.
Actually, to correct you, he's actually done a couple independents, and he's done a lot of. He's in Japan right now. He's been wrestling as MVP.
Has he? Wow. Okay, that's actually surprised me.
But again, you see, that example is MVP is not the same equivalent level as, say, John Cena or Randy Orton or anybody. He was just a mid-carder. So I don't think they would fear somebody like that, going out and saying, okay, we were a WWE wrestler and I'm MVP. I think it'll be more of a feared thing if John Cena left and try to make money from using his name. Like if he went to TNA or something like that.
Yeah.
It's a totally different scenario. Like for us, I'll give you a good example. As a promoter, if a wrestler comes to me and doesn't have the gimmick and he doesn't have any idea what to do, and I sit back and say, okay, I'm going to give you this gimmick, it's a gimmick that I want him to do for our shows. Now, I'm not trying to be WWE light or anything, but I have the guy sign, kind of a waiver that gimmick can only be used for us because of, merchandising purposes and all that. And I can understand how Vince would do it that way because he wants to protect a thing, his ideas. But us as independent workers and promoters, I cannot afford to give, let's say, you, Nick, a gimmick, and it gets over so well, then another company hires you, tells you getting this gimmick, and squashes you with that gimmick. Just
Yeah,
buries
exactly.
you.
Yeah.
So that's where the trademark and protection comes in, which I can understand. But,
yeah, I can totally understand it on that level. Who is the angry keyboard masher?
see, they stopped.
I think it's Rick. Cause
Sorry about
No,
that.
it's not me.
Sorry about
You've
that.
actually been coming and going. I've been I'm finishing off
Yeah,
my.
because
spaghetti
I've
sauce.
heard somebody typing on the keyboard, and I thought it sounds
Yeah.
like they try and press through to England.
No, not me. It's not me.
Sorry about that.
Put a silencer on that thing.
Listen, just to let you guys know, me and Andy, we've been doing a little program. It's called In the Moment, where we do, like, when we get into great, conversations like this, we do a little recording. So I just want to let you guys know we are, recording the show.
Shooting the shit.
Yeah, shooting the shit or in the moment.
Is
Now,
that
Rick,
copyrighted?
Now, Rick, why don't you ask Nick that question? You brung it to me last time.
Yep. Nick, what do you think about this?
What's that?
About the show, In the Moment.
I like, you know what? I actually like the name that you just said, Shooting the Shit. I like that.
Shooting
It's
the
got
shit.
A nice little ring. It's got a nice little ring to it.
Don't let Nick off don't let Nick off the hook this way. You got to ask him that question you asked me last time.
Oh, okay. The thing is if you object, we have to delete it. So that was the question.
If what now?
Well, the thing is, we have to ask. We want to let everybody know if how you feel about us record. How you feel about us recording.
If I object.
Yes.
Oh, no.
I don't believe that was the one Joseph is referring to.
Okay, now I'm lost.
I think it might have been something that Bay asked him.
Oh, so what is the question? Now you have me at a loss.
What diva you'd like to sleep with or something?
Oh! That was that question. If you had a chance to sleep with any diva, which diva would you like to sleep with?
Well, you guys know I already have a track record there on that one.
Yes, that's right. He's already slept with a knockout.
I would say AJ.
AJ? Okay, AJ Lee.
Definitely.
All right.
She's in my opinion, her and Mickey James.
AJ Styles.
Are the hottest thing going right now.
Yeah. But for the record, you have to fill it. You have to fill in Joseph the knockout that you've already had sex with.
Oh, the ODB story.
Yes, the ODB.
All right. I was in Natchez, Mississippi. No, Lake Charles, Louisiana. That's right, Lake Charles, and we had a big super card. We had oh my gosh, we had so many names on that card. It was unbelievable. Mick Foley was there. We had Disco Inferno, Eric Watts. We had D'Lo Brown, Rodney Mack, Jazz, ODB, myself, Sean Waltman was there. Among Edge, among other people. But anyway, there was multiple businesses that were investing into the show, and we had the whole roster split up to go make public appearances at all these different places. And I decided to go to this one bar, and me and D'Lo and ODB and Sean Waltman all went to and Buff Bagwell all went to this one bar, and we're sitting down playing poker. You know, they're feeding us drinks, just drink after drink after drink, and we're just getting hammered. And you know, and the crowd starts kind of coming around the table, and just like, you know, we got our own little audience here while we're playing poker. And so, you know, I get shit faced me. I'll go back to the hotel, and I happen to have a little bottle of Lortabs on me, and I instantly became everybody's friend. And then about 2:00 in the morning, I get this knock on my door, and there she sits in all her glory. And she came on in, and one thing led to another. And let's just say I went snorkeling down on ODB.
I think you should get the Medal of Honor for that.
Now she's pretty hot now. This is prior to her boob job too now. So.
Wow.
I think that would have only made the only thing that would have been appealing.
You know, the thing about it was this. I think this is what got her. Was we were having a conversation. I said, I was like, talking as a worker and everything. I was like, how we have rats. We have our, girls that line up behind the locker room and everything. I was like, I've always been curious. What do you female wrestlers have? What do you call them? I was like, we have rats. What do you guys have? And they said, we call them kangaroos. I was like, really? Why is that? He said, because they're so excited about being with this female wrestler that they literally hop on them and hop off.
There you go.
I said, oh, I've got to see this for myself, right? So he said one thing led to another, and it was a booze-induced night of lust, but yeah, it was fun. It's definitely going in my book.
Well, there's two types of sex in the UK. There's one that they call bronco sex, which is mount your girlfriend, call her by your ex-partner's name, and see how long you can hang on.
Uh-huh.
And then the second one, I don't even know if I dare go there. The second one's even worse, I suppose, but no, even I don't go there. No, I don't.
Okay, you can't leave us hanging like that.
He just left us hanging, and we're like,
I know.
Andy, don't make us call another ghost.
No, I'll just leave it at the Bronco one for now, and I'll tell the other story at a later date. It's we've all heard the story of
courage for it.
Something where you can't talk or something.
No, there's nobody in the room. I'm all on my lonesome self. But there's there's that one and the well, I'll tell you the story anyway. One of my friends, when I was, I think I was around about 20, 21, and my friend was around about 18 because he was a couple of years younger. We went to a bar, and we were eyeing up the local meat, and we saw this tasty barmaid, and she was really tasty.
Is this the one that had a cock on?
That's the one.
Oh, see, I already know this story. I'm already in the loop, guys.
Yeah, so my friend got the courage to go and ask her for a date, and up he went, and he come back. He says, "I'm definitely having it tonight, boys. So I'll see you later." What do you mean? He says, "Well, after tonight, after she's done a shift, we're on the car park. See you later, boys." So we hung around until she finished a shift, and they disappeared onto the car park. And it was a private seal car park, so we couldn't get round there. It was only like an employee's car park. So we toddled off to the next bar, the next late night bar. About an hour and 20 minutes later, our friend arrives, bright red cheeks, looked a bit flushed, didn't look very happy. So it was like, "What's up, Steve?" Nothing. Go on, how did it go? Don't want to talk about it. Oh, go on, mate, what's happened? Don't want to talk about it. So we plied him with a few more beers, and all of a sudden it comes out, oh, what happened then? He says, well, we climbed in the back of a car, we had a bit of a kiss, cuddle and a squeeze for about 30 minutes, he says, and then I slipped my hand down her knickers. He says, an earcock was bigger than mine. And we're like, what? He says, it was a tranny. I said, what did you do? He says, headbutted it and threw her out the car. And that's a true story.
Wow.
He said it wouldn't have been so bad, but hers was bigger than mine.
That sounds as bad as a friend back in, you still get him today, but...
Guys, let me cut you off real quick. It's been an honor and it's been a pleasure. Joseph, it was very nice meeting you, sir, and I hope to very much talk to you again in the future. Andy, drop me a line whenever you guys are having another show. Rick, my man, take care.
Nick, always a pleasure. You're always welcome.
Yeah, always on a Wednesday night, round about, is it 9 o'clock Central, we're about?
It's 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central.
Okay, I'll start making myself more available for you guys again.
Awesome.
All right, thanks.
Take care.
Take care.
Cheers,
Bye.
Nick.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Nick Bondage.
Nick Bondage has left the building.
Yep.
It's kind of a back in like 87, 88. I had a friend of mine's. He was he was really shy. He didn't meet any girls. You know, he had a hard time communicating with girls. So he sent away for one of those mail order brides.
Oh, no.
Now, in the picture, they sent him a magazine. You know, he calls us up. Hey, you got to come down and see. You know, I got the magazine. I think it was from, I think it was like Yugoslavia or something like that, or Russia. One of those, you know, definitely not, you know, United States girls. Well, he sets up this thing, and he says, look, I'm going to get that one. And, you know, you paid a visa fee and all that stuff. So, and the picture was beautiful, you know, blonde, long-haired, slim girl, great body and everything. So we're like, nah. He says, yeah. So, you know, he puts in the order, and he writes it. The girl writes back. They're going back and forth. The big day comes. He invites us to his apartment. The girl's coming, you know. He, you know, paid for the taxi to bring her over. He got his bachelor pad set up. We hear the knock on the door. We're all anticipating what's going on. You know, he opens the door and it's a 6'7", 300+ pound fat woman with short, craggly hair that makes Julia Child look extremely beautiful. We just looked at each other. We looked at him. We says, "Good luck, man." You know, first thing she said was "darling" in a deep masculine voice.
Wow.
I'd write to the company and say this has got damaged in the post. This is like slightly damaged in the post. Can I have a refund?
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Rick Starr, and you got caught in the moment. I want to thank Joseph Knight. Joseph Knight, once again, you got a new venue coming up. Why don't you tell us about your venue?
I appreciate it, Rick. It's again, we're doing the Classic Wrestling Association is doing its Summer Bash show, Saturday, August 31st. It's in Patterson, New Jersey. It's called the Center City Mall. We're located on the second floor next to Planet 301. The address is 301 Main Street. Come see us. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of great wrestling action. You're going to right after the show, some of the guys are going to be going into the arcade, so you can actually take your time and hang out with the CWA stars and watch them play games, play laser tag with them. It's going to be a fun night for everybody to enjoy.
Sounds like a blast. Shit. You know. Okay, Andy, where can people find you?
Yeah, it's not wrestling related, unfortunately, but it's still fun. It's www.stokehaunted.com. Spreaker.com if you want to know anything about paranormal investigating, if whether you think it's real, bullshit. We don't care. Come on, shoot the shit and talk to us.
And Lance from Lance Moss TV. Tell us about your Lance Moss.
Well, I do album reviews, NASCAR reviews, wrestling reviews, and, well, whatever else pops in my head at Lance Moss TV YouTube.com/Lance Moss TV.
All right. And he's over from the Big Easy. He's James from Instagive. James, tell us about, all about you, where we can find you at.
Well, since really I wasn't much here, but if you want to find me or the Bay Area MVP, go to instagive.tv. Mine will be instagive.tv/fatboy504. That's PHATBOI 504. Or you can go find the Bay Area MVP. I may hang out with him. Or there's going to be somebody else that's the creator of the games that we do, because we do game shows, regular gaming, but we do a lot of game shows, and the creator of the game shows is Studio06. That's his username. But, I'd be hanging out with MVP, or if I ever go live, then you'll see me there.
And of course, anytime you want to catch us, Hardcore Wrestling Radio, check us out over our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/Hardcore Wrestling Radio. And if you want to listen to any of our shows, will it be in the moment or just our shows on Wednesday night, head on over to Spreaker.com/HWR Media. Make sure you follow us. Make sure you hit the like button. And for everyone here at Hardcore Wrestling Radio, this is the Shining Star saying we'll see you when we see you. Thank you for listening to this edition of In the Moment. Be sure to check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/Hardcore Wrestling Radio. And as always, be sure to follow us at Spreaker.com/HWR Media. Thank you.